I had an issue with a threaded fitting leaking in my filter housing. Instead of slicing and dicing the entire pipe, putting a bunch of extra couplers and unnecessary fittings in, I'm going to demonstrate how you can remove the threaded fitting from the T without having to demolish your entire pipework. The first thing you want to do is cut your pipe as close to the T fitting or coupler as possible, leaving about a 1/4 inch or so to grab with a pair of pliers. Here, I cut the fitting in half, leaving a small bit out, because there wasn't much room to work with between the threaded fitting and the T itself. Once that's off, we have to locate some form of metal rod. It can be an old hole saw bit, a piece of conduit, cold rolled steel, all thread, or anything else that'll hold the heat. I'm using a piece of conduit with a piece of 1/2 inch cold rolled steel inside. Sticking the metal pipe into the fitting, we can get a gauge of how much pipe is in the T. We don't want so much that will melt the back of the T, just enough to heat up the pipe that's inside it. We'll use a Sharpie to mark a line, and we're going to heat up just the tip of the pipe. After heating the pipe for a few minutes, we're going to stick it in the fitting and warm up the pre-existing pipe. Side note, if the tool you're using to heat up is too hot, you can melt the PVC. The fumes coming off PVC can be incredibly toxic, so you want to avoid inhalation and make sure that you have proper ventilation in your workspace. This process can take a little bit of time, sometimes heating your piece of metal 2 or 3 times to soften the pipe. The idea is to warm everything up and soften the solvent and the glue inside your fitting without melting everything. I use a screwdriver to check to see how soft it is. After I see how much play there is, I'm able to grab it with a pair of pliers and gently twist and turn, pulling out the old piece of PVC. With the old PVC removed, we're able to add some pipe dope to our threaded fitting, reinstall it into our filter housing, and reprime and re-glue the PVC back into the fitting without having to cut it apart and use a bunch of different couplers. When gluing your fittings, be sure to hold together for 15 seconds or so to make sure the glue sets. Sometimes your PVC pieces will press themselves apart and can mess up your joints. Anytime you're using PVC as a pressure pipe, be sure to let the PVC solvent and glue cure for as long as necessary, sometimes 2 to 3 hours depending on your solvent. What the camera didn't capture was the fact that I decided to fill the system with water to show how it worked. Not letting the pipe cure in time, right after I turned off the camera, everything blew apart and water went everywhere. I had to take the time to disassemble everything, reprime, and reglue my fittings, letting everything cure. If you have any questions, comment below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. This is an example of a technique used in a real-world situation.